Hi everybody, James here. In this episode we're going to go through loading target faces and performing a one-shot calibration on your Silver Mountain targets. Since now you've loaded a Silver Mountain to your target frames in the previous episode, we're going to log in as admin. We're going to go to the cog, and this time we're going to go to this spanner with a circle. Now as you can see here, these are all the pre-loaded targets. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete those off because here in Australia we use the IFCRA target faces. So to delete a target face, you just click and hold for a couple of seconds and then you get the option to delete. You just work your way through, deleting all those out that you're not going to use. Now you can't delete all the faces off, you'll still have one target face left. But once you upload your new target faces, you can delete that target face that you're not going to use. So keep working your way through. You can also download these target faces from the Silver Mountain website if you wish to have foxes or something like that to shoot at for a bit of fun. So what we're going to do, we're going to choose File, and you got here the NIFCRAF Australia. This is what I've downloaded previously from the Silver Mountain website. We click that, hit OK. Import target faces, are you sure? Okay, now we can get rid of this last US target face, and we're going to do everything in yards. So we're just going to select the target face by clicking on it once to activate it, makes it green. So you can see here, I'm selecting our yard target faces. When they're grayed out, that means they're deselected and you can't select them to shoot on. So now we're going to go into the modifying our target frame dimensions. So I've already preset these in. These actually come set at 1500 and 1500, but I'll show you how to modify them over. So what you want to do is take your measurements of your width and your height of your microphones. So in this little crude drawing I've got here, you can see for the width, I'm going from the top left side of the top left microphone to the top left side of the top right microphone. Now by doing this measurement, it will translate over so you know exactly where the center point and center point is, so it doesn't matter. This just makes it easier than trying to guess where the center point is. Now for your height, you go from the same point, the top left side of the top left microphone to the top left point of the bottom left microphone for your height. So you take those measurements and you input them into the system. So the target we measured was 1940 millimeters. So you want this set in mils, nothing else when you're typing it in, and it's just a space in between. So you go 1940 space 1940. Hit OK. And you can see here our mic height and width has been updated. Now, because we're in Australia, we're going to set our units to millimeters and get rid of MOA. To do this, you click on the computer screen on the left under the admin drop down, and you have display stats, shot XY you want highlighted, position unit. We want to change this to millimeters. And whether your club wants to use feet per second or meters per second, that's up to you, but I'm going to leave it as feet per second. So we'll go back to our target frame. Now what we're going to do is conduct a one-shot calibration method. Now what I like to do is have my shooter at 100 yards, and I like this shooter to aim at the 5 ring at the 3 o'clock position. This makes it the easiest to measure. So what we're going to do is get our shooter to fire one shot at the 5 ring at the 3 o'clock position. Now if we close down our menu here, we can see we have a X and Y, an X of 126.9 millimeters and a Y of 6 millimeters is what's indicated on the screen. Now what we're going to do is go up and we're actually going to go measure where that shot placement was. So we've taken the measurement of the shot placement, and it turns out it's actually 134 millimeters across, and it is 4 millimeters high. So as you can see, they don't match up with these numbers. So we can use a calculator here, or you can do the simple math. So if it's 134 to 126.9, that is 7.1 mil. But just to be sure, so you'll take 134 minus 126.9, 7.1. So we know that it is out by 7.1 mils on the x-axis, and it is out by 2 mil on the y-axis. So to input those settings, we come to this offset area, x and y. In the offset area, this is where you'll put in the difference. So we are still 7.1 millimeters out, so we'll put 7.1 for our x, and we'll put 2 for our y. Now let's see what happens here. Go back out of this menu, 134 and 8, but we said we were 4 mil, so what happened there? So you have to put a negative indice in if you actually want to bring the number down. So our x is fine with 134, but we only put 2 in, which meant we went from 6 mil to 8 mil. We only want to be 4 mil. So we go back in here again, and we'll type 7.1, and we'll actually put -2. Go back out, and as you can see here, we're back to 134 mil and 4 mil, which is what we added when we went up and measured the target. So now we know our shots are in line. Now, this is, as admins, what you can do, and this is a club decision. If you wish to save your target centers or your X-rings for, say, your 300-yard shoot, what you can actually do is put an offset in. So I'll show you what I mean by the offset. So we'll save this target, and we'll have someone fire a shot, and we'll fire it at dead center of the target. So now we know we're dead center. We've calibrated to show that the system is within line and it's all working correctly. But we don't want the shots to all go through the center of the target. So what we do is we do an offset. So while the person is aiming at the center of the target, the shot will actually hit lower, preserving that aiming mark. So they'll make their adjustments in their scope based on where they think the shot is hit, but where it actually hasn't hit. So what we do in here is we go in to our XY again, and we'll keep it at 7.1, but we're going to make the Y 300 mil. So when we go out and zoom out on our target, see how far we've actually moved our point of impact? High. So if you don't want it to go that high, you can simply go in and make your changes again to where you think would be appropriate. So if you want them under the target, we can use a negative number. So we'll go 7.1, and I'm only going to have it negative 150 mil. So as you can see here, this is where the target's hit. So people go, oh, I'm now hitting low. Even though they aimed at the dead center of the target, they've hit low. So now they're going to wind up 2 minutes of angle, and they'll fire again. Now they're aiming at the center of the target, and they've fired again, and they've hit the center of the target, but the bullet has actually transitioned through at this S1 mark, therefore preserving your center aiming mark. And that way you can keep, for a 300-yard shoot, you don't have to go and change your targets out, or you're not losing your aiming mark towards the end of the day. That's just a recommendation for saving an aiming mark, and you can do that via your offsets.